Hey friend, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, welcome to the channel. Now in today's video, we are going to carry on with our in-depth Bible study of the book of Genesis, and today we are going to be studying chapter 9. So get your Bibles and let's cue the intro. So in the previous video, we looked at chapter 8, and that is where the flood subsided. Chapter 6 and 7, we discussed and read about the flood. So Noah was in the ark, he built it as per God's instructions. He had his family and the animals and some food on the ark for them. And for 40 days and 40 nights, it's been raining non-stop, and it was a complete flood over the whole earth as God promised it would be. Now, 150 days after the 40 days and 40 nights of constant rain, the flood then subsided, but it took some time for the flood to subside. Now, it was about 150 days, and then Noah sent a raven out to see if the raven will bring a leaf or something to prove to them that it's ready for them to get out the ark soon. And the raven returned shortly after because there was nowhere for the raven to rest. A week later, Noah then sent a dove out, and the dove returned with an olive leaf from an olive tree. So today we are now going to be looking at the covenant, so God's covenant with Noah. Now this is the last section of chapter 8, which was in the previous video, which then goes into chapter 9. So we are going to start reading chapter 8 first from verse 20, and then it's going to carry on into chapter 9. Before we read, this is now as Noah and his family has now exited the ark, and what they then did first. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took some of every clean animal and some of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And when the Lord smelled the pleasing aroma, the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground because of man, for the intention of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I ever again strike down every living creature as I have done, while the earth remains. Seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth. The fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every bird of the heavens, upon everything that creeps on the ground, and all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they are delivered. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you, and as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything. But you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. And for your lifeblood I will require a reckoning. From every beast I will require it, and from man. From his fellow man I will require a reckoning for the life of man. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For God made man in his own image. And you, be fruitful and multiply, increase greatly on the earth and multiply in it. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, Behold, I establish my covenant with you and your offspring after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, and every beast of the earth with you, as many as came out of the ark. It is for every beast of the earth. I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, This is the sign of the covenant that I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you. For all generations I have set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth, and the bow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the water shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant that I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth." The sons of Noah who went forth from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and from these the people of the whole earth were dispersed. Noah began to be a man of the soil, and he planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine and became drunk, and lay uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brothers outside. Then Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it on both their shoulders, and walked backward, and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned backward, and they did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah awoke from his wine, and knew what his youngest son has done to him, he said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be to his brothers." He also said, "Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant." After the flood, Noah lived 350 years. All the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. Okay, so let's first look at chapter 8, and this is verse 21. And it said, "And when the Lord smelled the pleasing aroma," this is the first time that we read in the Bible where God can smell. We know we are made in the image of God, and so if God can smell, we can smell. But in this verse 21 of chapter 8, it is clear to us that God can smell, because he smelled the pleasing aroma, and the Lord said in his heart that he will never again curse the earth, basically, with the flood. So I just love that, and I just had to point that out. Now, with chapter 9, we can keep this as a covenant that and a promise that God has given us. So we still in this covenant with God. We still have this promise from God, where God said that was the last time with Noah's ark. That was the last time that God will send a flood to cover the whole earth. And this is so God said he won't strike down living creatures again. So he won't strike down living creatures again, and he won't flood the whole earth. And our promise can be seen with the rainbow in the clouds. As we see rainbows today, God's covenant, God's promise to us as Christians is that the rainbow is in the clouds, and every time you see the rainbow, we can remember, and God will be reminded of, not that he needs to be reminded, of the covenant and promise that he has made to Noah for generations and generations and generations to come, which includes us, until he comes to take us home. So I love that we have that rainbow, we have that promise, and people, if that's why I love rainbows, because it's so normal for us to look at a rainbow, just be like, "Oh, cool, that's a cool rainbow." But we need to, when we see a rainbow, be reminded of, wow, that's God's promise. That's why God created a rainbow. That's why we can see this rainbow today, because it's reminding us of the promise that he made to our forefathers, or forefather Noah. And I love that. So here we can also see the instruction that God clearly gave them. So God gave them the instruction to be fruitful and multiply. So they need to multiply the earth. Because why? Because everyone's been removed, shall I say. So there's like no one on the earth except for Noah and Noah's family. So Noah entered the ark with his 3 sons and their wives, and obviously Noah with his wife. And so they were, especially the children, they were asked, God told them that you need to now be fruitful and multiply. Like you need to get going. You got work to do. He also then said that birds and fish and beasts and all creatures will fear Noah and his family. So in the sense of that they don't have to worry about animals attacking them, or that, if they're only 4 pairs of, it's Noah, his wife, 3 sons and 3 stepdaughter or daughter-in-laws, that they don't have to fear, what if an animal attacks us? We need to now be fruitful and multiply. What happens if an animal attacks us, or something happens? So God told them that they shouldn't fear that they will be protected from any animal or creature or bird or anything. They will not be attacked, so they don't have to fear that, which I thought was quite interesting. Because imagine, you just were in the ark for 190 days, okay? And then you get off the ark, and then you have to still fear the animals and be like, imagine a tiger just eats me up tonight. Or, like how... So I mean, we read through this and we're like, okay, but like to think about, this is the things that they had to probably think about. And then here it also says, so we're in now chapter 8, and where we can then also see where God then said that every living or moving thing will be food for you, and that includes all the green plants, of course, too. And then when we looked at verse 6, where God then specifically says for this is not the first time, because we had Cain and Abel too, where they murdered. Yeah. So this is now the second time where in verse 6, God tells them that they shouldn't murder each other. No murdering allowed. You're not going to shed blood and things like that, because we are made in God's image. So if you're killing, it's not, God doesn't want that. So that was a clear instruction too, which I really enjoyed. And then also the I thought that it was interesting where God said that you cannot eat alive creatures. Like you can't eat a creature that still has blood, or an animal that still has blood in it. We shouldn't eat that. So I was like, oh, because that is interesting, because if I think about today and like, how do we eat our steaks, and how do we, like different, are we actually following God's instructions here? Are we actually following the biblical instructions? Like no blood from animals. You shouldn't just eat them like raw or with blood and things like that, which makes sense. I know we're going to still get into the law. That's still coming. But I mean, it's just interesting that he already said that, and like try to like teach Noah's family like just a few like just tips just here. This is because having the blood and like raw food is not going to be good for you. So I just think that it's really, really interesting. So then from verse 18 up until about 25, it talks about Noah's descendants. So it's going to talk about the descendants basically of Noah's family, and then the story about Noah then planting a vineyard and then getting drunk off of wine. And so yeah, it is wine. He got drunk off of wine, and where, I mean, to them, you couldn't obviously with that. If we look at this now, it's completely different to what it is today. But where they literally respected Noah so much that they couldn't even just, he was laying in nakedness because he was drunk, but they couldn't even just go to him and give him a covering or something to cover himself, that they literally walked backward in reverse to their father, not looking in the direction of their father at all, just to give him something to cover him with. And I mean, that's just, it's okay, like it's beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely, it's beautiful. I would love for us today to still be like that, where we still honor people, and still have respect for them, basically, because basically respect lacking a lot in our culture right now, I feel personally. Now then after that, because Noah then realized that Canaan did the covering and the things of him, and even though he did it in such a respectful manner, to me, I feel I stand corrected, because I'm not sure why, because I'm trying to question, why did Noah not feel that that was respectful enough? Would he have preferred to be left naked in his drunkenness? Or I'm just trying to figure out, because obviously it doesn't say it here, and so after our question marks here, as we're going to dig deeper and deeper, and hopefully we find the answer to it. But Noah basically then just said that he's not going to bless Canaan. Canaan's going to be a servant for his brothers and his, his family and things. And I just, yeah, I think it's, I don't get, I don't get it. I don't know if obviously Noah is not perfect, and I get that, but it's just like, it's sad that Canaan tried to help his, that would be his grandfather, and then being told you're now going to be a servant, because treated like a servant, because it's not okay what you did. So Can't wait. Let me put it this way. This will be added to the questions that I have for the Lord when I go to heaven one day. I have so many, but this will be definitely one of those. So I'll be like, why did Noah do that? Why? Just, yeah. But anyway, also interesting that Noah lived 950 years. 950 years. Imagine living 1,000 years. Now we can barely see 100 years. Imagine living 1,000 years. Whoa. That's crazy. But anyway, that's it for chapter 9. Let me know what God revealed to you when you read chapter 9. I'd love to hear. But that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one where we will be talking about chapter 10. That's it. I'll see you in the next one. I pray that God will continue to bless you. Bye.